and welcome back to my channel. I honestly think this month went by pretty quickly. The first book that I read for the month, it really does not feel like it's been that long. And I'm really excited to go over today's books because I feel like I had a pretty good reading month. There were quite a few that I actually gave pretty good ratings, so I'm excited to talk about the books that I read in the month of May. May was a very, very busy month for me. Like, it was my mom's birthday and it was Mother's Day. And then I went on a week-long vacation to Puerto Rico, so it was a very, very busy month. I read a bunch and they were good books. I honestly think they were really fun reads. I just want to jump right in, and the first one is Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. This book, guys, if you have this on your TBR, if you have it physically, if you have it on your Kindle, if you have this on audiobook, I don't know if there's an audiobook version of this. I'm really surprised I haven't checked for myself. There's no reason you guys should not be reading this. If you guys have this and you plan on reading it, please read it immediately. I love this book. If you guys don't know what the Magnolia Parks universe is, the best way I can describe Magnolia Parks is, think of Gossip Girl. You know how those like really rich teenagers and the drama of it all? Think of that, but young adult. Fun part is the toxicity and the drama in this book. This book will make you feel a lot of things. The characters in here are really funny and really cute. Then they also are really freaking annoying. It makes you want to pull your hair out reading the things that they do to each other. You get so mad, and then you turn the next page and you're like, oh, but like what he said or what she said is so cute or so sweet. I annotated this book and did a reading vlog for it, so if you haven't watched that vlog yet, definitely go check it out. I think it's on this side. I always put it at the wrong side, so I'm not even gonna try anymore. But yeah, if you haven't watched that reading vlog, definitely go check it out. I annotated, I tabbed, I did everything. I highlighted, I wrote in this book. Jessa Hastings has a way of writing where things are just so beautifully written. Such a fun read. I think if you really enjoyed Gossip Girl and you want something just drama filled and fun to read, I really highly recommend this book. I gave this book a 4.5. It wasn't a 5 exactly because I did find some moments a little bit repetitive. It wasn't bad. Like, guys, I love this book. I really enjoyed this book. It was a 4.5, and I'm really, really excited to be doing a reading vlog and annotate with me for Daisy Hates. So stay tuned for that. The next book I picked up was a fantasy book, and this is Kingdom of the Curse by Carrie Maniscalco. Definitely did not say that right. I enjoyed this book. I didn't enjoy it as much as the first one, I will say. The first one kept me more entertained. This one kind of confused me a lot. I think it was because there was a lot of information dump that's gonna be answered in the third and final book of the series. I can't say too much about the second book because it will contain spoilers. The reason why I gave it a little bit higher of a rating than what I thought originally was because the ending was very, very intriguing. Very much like the first book. You know, it's fun. The series, if you don't know about the series, is about a witch named Amelia, and she one day finds her twin sister dead, murdered to be exact, and she's trying to figure out who murdered her sister and ends up summoning a prince of hell. His name is Wrath, and they end up working together because he wants to find out who killed the sister as well. I really do want to know what happens, but I gave this book a 3.5. Towards the last quarter of the book, I was like, you know what? This is reeling me back in. So 3.5 it is. The next one, my prize possessions, the duet that made me mad at myself for waiting so long to finally pick up and read. Like, I've had the first book for years, for like 3 years, and that is the Six of Crows duology. Now, this duology, works of art. Let me tell you, works of art. If you haven't read this duology, what are you doing? If you like fantasy, you have to pick these up. If you love the found family trope and you love a good, morally gray character, you will love this book. That's actually super dramatic of me. Like, don't come for me if you don't like the books and you read them because of me. Like, don't come for me. It's just because I'm so passionate about how much I love these books. They are about 6 characters called the Crows, and they're all criminals. They all have these like very different backgrounds, but they come together for a heist. And it is just so fun to read because they're not your typical found family where they would, you know, openly say that they love each other and like they would die for each other. But as the plot goes along, you can really tell that they care about each other a lot. It's not their personality to outright say how much they care for each other. So it's just really fun and entertaining to watch them kind of like banter back and forth and like say mean things, but then it's funny and you know that they don't mean it. Kaz, one of the crows, and honestly, the main character, I love him, and he is top rated book character. It is really hard to write a good morally gray character that is truly morally gray, but then also just so lovable. But the main reason why I rated both of these books a 5-star is because the character development is so good. It is so good. If you are looking for world building, I would recommend you read the Shadow and Bones trilogy before reading this duology, but you don't have to. They're not related, they don't intertwine, you can read them separately. But this duet is more about character development, which Shadow and Bones I felt was lacking. That series didn't do it for me, but there's 6 characters in here and it follows all 6 of them. You get the point of views of all 6 of them throughout the 2 books, and that feels a little daunting and that feels a little too complicated. But let me tell you, it is so interesting to learn about their backgrounds as they're going along with the heist. Like, it doesn't feel like a lot of information. It doesn't feel like all over the place. I really highly recommend this duology if you want something just very found family trope and good banter and fun characters and a fun, fast-paced book. So the next set of books are from my video starting my romance era. Before reading these books, I've read maybe 2 or 3 romance books, and I wanted to jump into 3 very different books and just kind of see how the romance community is and if I would enjoy it. And let me tell you, I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun doing this video. I had a lot of fun reading these books. So if you haven't watched that reading vlog yet, definitely go check that out. The first book I picked up for that romance vlog was Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. And I picked this because it is very popular. I'm sure everyone in the book community knows about this book. I've never heard a bad review about this book, so I wanted to pick something up that was super popular to give myself a good footing on romance novels. Guys, this is the cutest book I've ever read. It is so adorable. Wes is one of my favorite book boyfriends ever. He is so cute. He is so funny. Like, I love him. Don't even remember his last name. What was the girl's name? Liz. Oh my god, I forgot the girl's name. Anyways, it was a really cute story. This is about Liz who loves romance movies. Anything to do with love, she loves. And she wants to fall in love and find the perfect boy, you know, get married, have kids, and all of that. All of the like very stereotypical romantic comedy kind of situations. She ends up working with Wes to kind of get one of their old childhood friends to fall in love with her. Along the way, she ends up catching feelings for him and vice versa. Super adorable. I gave this book a 4.5. I almost gave it a 5. But it did have some miscommunication in it, and that is one of my least favorite tropes. But you know what? It wasn't insufferable, so I only docked it a little bit. I still really enjoy this book. If you're looking for a cute romance read, highly recommend if you haven't read this already. The next one was The Fine Print. I read it on my Kindle. The Fine Print by Lauren Asher, and it is the first book of the Dreamland Billionaire series. I believe that's what the series is called. The 3 books follow the brothers, and the first one follows Rowan, the youngest, and his grandfather passes away, and in his grandfather's will, he gives his 3 grandsons tasks or missions to complete in order to get their inheritance. And Rowan's is to basically to create something really extravagant and something very new and no one's seen before. And Rowan is a very grumpy character. He has a lot of trauma and like refuses to be creative like he was when he was little, so his grandfather wanted him to get back into that. Then he ends up meeting Zara, which is our girl main character. She is very bubbly and cute, but what I love about her is that she's not a pushover. Like, she's bubbly and super nice and kind to everybody, but she's not a pushover. She will not let Rowan walk all over her and be rude to her even though he is her boss. It was an enjoyable read. If you've watched the vlog, you will know that I thought this book was going to be kind of similar to Better Than the Movies. I don't know why. I don't know why. Like, I picked the fine print because it was popular, but also because it was adult. I picked Better Than the Movies because it's YA. I wanted to try different genres and different categories. I don't know why I expected it to be a slow burn. It was not a slow burn. You want spice? This book has it. I don't have that much experience when it comes to spice. I'm the wrong person to ask. It was a fun read. I gave it a 3.5. It wasn't bad. I just wouldn't pick it up again. It wasn't that memorable. I enjoyed it while I was reading it. They were cute. I liked the characters. Overall, I would just say that it was a fun read, but I wouldn't pick it up again to reread. The last book I did for the romance vlog was Love Boat Taipei by Abigail Hing Wen, and this was the pick that I chose to contrast with the other two. So the other two were super popular picks, but I wanted to pick something that was less mainstream and less popular. I saw that this was about a romance between Asian Americans, and I just thought it was kind of intriguing. This is about Ever Wong. She is basically in a very stereotypical Asian household where her parents want her to be a doctor. So Ever is in her senior year of high school and she loves dance, but her parents don't want her to pursue dance because they think it wouldn't be a very good career. They end up sending her to Taiwan for basically a Mandarin summer school called Love Boat. It's not called Love Boat, but the students there call it Love Boat because that's where a lot of people meet their future significant others. Is the gist of what it is. It's her time at Love Boat. It's a fun read, but I did not know where the romance was going. 2/3 of the way in, I was like, I don't like where, well, like what is, like, is this romance? I don't know. I feel like this could be categorized better if it was a coming of age story rather than romance. Maybe that was my own expectations. It's more coming of age and Ever standing up for herself and realizing that her life is her life, and just because she doesn't pursue what her parents want her to do doesn't mean she's a disappointment to them. I gave this a 4-star as well. I definitely would have given it a lot lower if I didn't feel like this was so relatable. There were some moments in this where her conversations with her parents felt so real and so realistic to my conversations I've had that it just was very heartwarming. Speaking of fun reads, you guys should definitely pick up Belladonna by Adeline Grace. I really enjoyed this book. I found this book to be so fun and easy to comprehend. I thoroughly enjoyed it. This is a book about Signa, who is able to see ghosts and death himself. Death is basically like the Grim Reaper. He comes when people are dying and takes them to the afterlife, and she hates him because anytime she sees him, someone is dying around her. They're taking a loved one or a relative away from you. So completely understandable why she hates him. She ends up living with her uncle and cousins, and their mom, her aunt, recently passed away, and she ends up seeing the aunt's ghost, and the ghost tells her that she was murdered. So now Signa is trying to figure out who killed her aunt and why. She somehow ends up working with death. It was just a really cute, cozy fantasy. It's very gothic and murder mystery. Set in the Victorian era, enemies to lovers because death in this one other character is the love interest. I gave this book a 4-star also. The last book I read was 6 Scorch Roses by Carissa Broadbent, and I loved it. Carissa Broadbent has become one of my favorite authors. She has this way of writing that is just captivating. It keeps you in and interested the entire time. This one follows Lilith and Val. They're characters that you meet in the second book of the Nightborn duology. I wish that I read this before I read the second book. I just was too excited to read the second book, but I kind of regret it. I wish I read this before because this gives you so much background on those two characters and makes you love them and like root for them so much more than if you just read the second book. If you just read the second book, you're like, okay, these characters are cool. They're just supporting characters, whatever. If I read this and then I read the second one, I would have been like, ah, Val, Lilith, like they went through a lot. Their romance is cute. It's only like 180 pages, but I'm rooting for them. I love their characters. It's not super intricate, obviously, because it is just a novella. I gave this a 4-star, but I will say Carissa Broadbent did a pretty good job giving these characters the development that is needed to kind of fall in love with them and root for them and follow them throughout the rest of the series, hopefully. Those are all the books I read in the month of May. I think I had a pretty good reading month. I gave quite a few books 4 or higher, so I think it was a successful month. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what your favorite book for May was. But other than that, I will see you guys tomorrow for my June TBR, where I am going to be picking books based off of prompts. Thank you again for watching the video. Bye!